Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a kelp farm that I recently built on the Pathfinder Saga SMP server. And it was requested that I do a tutorial video, so I'm going to try to do my best. Hang in there with me as I fumble through this and most likely make many mistakes. So let's get started. This kelp farm is a V shape, and it's going to start off with either a above ground or below ground. If you're doing it below ground, you'll have to dig out the area. I'm going to be doing it above ground just for visual ease. So first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to have the set of blocks that your kelp is going to be growing on. And then one block up, I'm going to build two side by side simultaneously, so it's a little easier to understand here. Oh, I already have the piston on my hotbar. Look at me go. Okay, so we're going to be adding pistons like that. These are going to be what's actually breaking the kelp as it grows up. And on top of that, you're going to need to place the observers the correct direction, facing inwards, so that when the kelp grows, it sees it, breaks them. Fantastic. So behind each piston, go ahead and place a block with redstone dust on top. And this is a tileable design, so I'm only doing 4 slices, but you could do this literally as long as you wanted. Now, when it comes to height, I do recommend that you keep it kind of low, otherwise the collection is kind of a problem, but we'll get to that when we get there. On top of the redstone, we're going to go ahead and place another row of blocks, just like that. And then we're literally just going to repeat the pattern with the observers and pistons. And we can go like this. And grab some more blocks here. Like so. And then keep piling it up. Okay, I think this is about the biggest you could do it before you had to do some adjusting of the collection. So we're going to go ahead and put a glass face just on the front of this so we can kind of fill it up with water and see how it works. Okay, so we've put a glass case around it so the water doesn't go everywhere, protecting our redstone. And now we're ready to go ahead and fill it. And I need to stress this. Do not put the kelp in yet. The kelp will probably be the last thing we do because of this issue right here that we're having. It is very hard to get this actually to all convert because of the pistons and the observers. And if we were smart, which you know what, post edit me, put this in do not put the redstone in yet. Maybe the redstone should be the last thing. Boy, I'm good at these tutorials. Woo! Really good at them. Okay. Well, you live and learn. I mean, I know how to build it, but doesn't mean I know how to build it the most efficient way possible. Okay, we're good that way. Okay, now that we have the whole thing full, Redstone is out. We're going to go ahead and leave the redstone out until the very last thing. Second before last, because we're going to put the kelp in last. Redstone, then kelp for the last two things. Next thing we're going to want to do is create our collection system, which, if I'm not mistaken, I actually need to raise this one more level. Okay, so our collection is going to come over here to this. We'll just pretend it's over there. Hang on a second. Oh, right. My bad. So these need to be ice. I'm using blue ice because it's the most efficient, but it does not need to be blue ice. I am fairly confident that any old ice will work. And you know what? We're actually needing to fill this in. I really ought to just like start over entirely and do this again, but you know, I don't want to. Anyways, so if you're still following, congrats to you. That means I'm not totally a failure at this. All right, let's find our middle point here. It's going to be an even number, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that means 6 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to place a row of trapdoors so they face that way. And then on the back side, we're going to place another row of trapdoors like that. And then I think we need to extend the glass out here like that. We need to get our second, one more hopper line in. Like so. And then we are going to waterlog these trapdoors. And then we can remove them. That creates a nice two-way flowing waterway on top. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this layer underneath. And then we need to redo our water sources on this layer. So yeah, just you can go crazy with it. Just don't click anywhere up on this line or you'll ruin your water flow. Now at this point, we can go ahead and get our redstone back. Go ahead and put that in place. And then we can go ahead and plant our kelp. The first layer of kelp here is pretty simple. And then the second just goes right on top of the observers and so on and so forth. Okay. So as it stands, this is a fully functioning kelp farm. As the kelp grows up, as I simulate here, it'll grow up, it'll pop off. And there will be a little bit that gets kind of stuck at this level because it has actually cut off the water supply. So I don't know if there's any way around it, but as the kelp grows, it actually solidifies the water source, so then they will all float up and then they just get taken out here to the hopper line. Now I would suggest maybe coming in here and doing some sort of barrier I don't think it's necessary, but I would do that. And as it stands, you know, we're collecting kelp. But we're going to take it one step further and go ahead and get this cooking up kelp to make dried kelp blocks in our furnace and making kelp blocks. Let's grab ourselves a chest. We're going to go ahead and have this pump directly into a double chest because we do need a rather substantial buffer. Because if you have a large one of these, it will produce an awful lot. And, oops, you're gonna be thankful for the buffer. All right, now from there, we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves a smoker. Put it like that. Hopper, nope, ignore me. We're gonna have it underneath. Has to be underneath because the contents go in the top. Okay, yep, there they go. So everything is feeding into our smokers, and now we need to have an output and an input. So the input for the kelp blocks is going to be on the inside here. Obviously the output has to be like this. And then we're going to take our crafter and we're going to come over here like that. Grab yourself a piece of soul sand. Oops. Wow. We're gonna come up. We'll do glass just to make it easier to see. Just creating a tube above the soul sand for our bubble elevator. And then go ahead and create water sources on all of those. Like so. And I suggest putting a top on that because they will come out at a rather high velocity and we don't want them flying all over the place. Okay, so that is the basic setup. Now we just have to have a clock to power the crafters. So the one I used in on the Pathfinder Saga server, it's a real simple. Let me get set up here. Okay. I think I used the target block here. It's a real simple repeater. Not repeater, torch clock. We're just creating a circle. And it goes. But it's a little... I don't think it is actually too quick. Because it doesn't really matter. I'm sure if somebody wants to come up with a better way to do this, they can. This is just what I used. So, This part is completely up to you. You can have a switch to turn it off if you want. And then ultimately, that's it. Just need to have some fuel. We'll throw some kelp blocks in just to get it jump started. We'll throw in half a stack on each. Now, this farm that I have will not make enough, I don't think, to keep these running at very good capacity. I would suggest building it at least like 16, so 4 times as big. There's actually quite a bit of kelp on that side. There's only 3 on this side. Are we stuck somewhere, or is it just... I don't know. Oh, we'll just throw a stack in there. We'll watch this go, and you can see that we're leaving everything. You don't have to touch the crafter, because you can like disable slots and stuff, but with the kelp blocks, you don't need to do any of that. And we're just gonna watch it fill up, and then when it gets all the way to 9 dried kelp, it's gonna craft us a dried kelp block. There, you saw it, and that shoots it from the crafter directly into the bubble column, floats up into the hopper, and goes in here. We started with 32, I put in, and then it burned 1, and then it's back up to 32. Let's check, see how many is over here. 32 as well. So yeah, that's that. Now, there will be an occasional bit that floats to the very, very center here and gets stuck, but it shouldn't be enough that it matters, especially if you build this large enough. I think I just saw another one go. Yep, now we have 33. Now, if you do decide to build it bigger, I will give a quick demonstration of how that might look. I'm gonna speed up to where we're adding the water. Okay, I've got this set up here. This is kind of a crude setup. This is just my marker for the center. And there is a little bit of kelp over here that has spilled out past the hoppers. So yeah, it probably would be prudent to have some sort of backstop here. And as you can see there, I'm glad it happened. Some will get caught right in the center. Tried to avoid that with how I did the water stream, but it happens. Anyways, for the ones that are wider, now you can kind of adjust this to your size, but what you're going to have to do is have this kind of built up in tiers like this. I'm going to do the same thing with the trapdoors. Just flip them up. And then we can go ahead and delete them. And as you can see here, it flows all the way to the very edge. And this would be where you would have your ice directly on top of the hoppers, or directly on top of the observers, like so. And then your hopper line would, run out this way. So once you have this here, what you're going to want to do is remove all of these, and you're going to have to water log, if you just get this side water logged, and then you come over here and waterlog a strip all the way to the end here. That strip and that strip will be full water sources, so as you remove this, it will create water sources throughout the entire layer. Now these are a little tricky. I really don't like doing them this wide. If I had done mine again, I would have left it about that wide and just did it longer. I still ended up with some over here. I just don't think it likes me. But then, yeah, come over here and I have added water to the bottom. So after that, you just come over here, create water sources along there. And we can do the same trick, just creating a channel all the way down and placing a water bucket every other. And then as we remove these, it should all fill in with water sources. And if we throw an item at the bottom, we should see it float to the top. And get picked up by the water. Now it will most likely do that, but it'll float back up and then it'll fly over the ice and get picked up. So downside to having it too wide is you've got to do a setup like this. My suggestion would be to do, only the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high. But I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, you can figure out how to do this even longer. All you do is just add more tiers. It's just a lot more work. Where this works fairly well, there is the loss in the middle. I will admit, it's not perfect, but it's the one I built. I'm doing a tutorial on it for you guys. And yeah, say this one's already quit running, but we were up 36 dried kelp blocks over here. Not up quite that high on this side, but it's a very small slice. So you can just imagine, scaling that, 4, 6, 8 times as long. And it's, for all intents and purposes, it is just identical. You just expand it longer. No need for repeaters or anything. It's all pretty well self-contained. So yeah, if you enjoyed or found some use for this, please like, share, and comment on the video. And if you would consider subscribing, I do mostly survival multiplayer series. This is my first tutorial, like I said, so hope I didn't totally botch it, but I'm sure I did. Anyways, have a good one, everyone. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.